What is going on, everybody? My name is Dakota, and welcome back to Coda's Cologne. Happy New Year, happy holidays. This video is a little bit past the New Year, but that's all right. And in today's video, what we're going to be doing is it's going to be all about the hype. So I was putting my daughter to bed the other night, and I was reading her a story of Goldilocks, and for some reason that clicked in my weird brain about, bed's too big, bed's too little, bed's just right. For some reason in my brain, I went to hype. And I got to thinking of the 2023 fragrances that was released. So, since the year's done, year's passed, everything's officially done. What fragrances were overhyped, underhyped, or just right when they were released? And that's what we're diving into today. Stick around. Alrighty, so just like in the story, she started with Papa Bear, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the overhyped fragrance of 2023. Now, how I'm breaking this down for overhyped is one that everybody thought was going to be different, everybody thought was going to be some maybe like big changing thing, and unfortunately it just didn't live up to that. None of these three fragrances smell bad by any means, and for me that 2023 fragrance that just kind of didn't live up to the hype was going to be YSL Myself. And the reason I'm going to go with this one, and the reason I'm going to start with this one, YSL being such a big name and YSL being such a big staple in the fragrance community, this fragrance just kind of didn't live up to that, unfortunately. With that being said, this does smell nice. It is a very nice fragrance, but there was nothing really unique about this. There was nothing really that different at all. Like, forget unique, there just wasn't anything that different. Unfortunately for this fragrance, it smells good. It smells great. It's very mass appealing, and maybe that's part of the problem. Is it's so mass appealing that it's a little bit of a letdown for what we expected, because I'm assuming Myself is going to trend into a new line. It smells like everything else YSL has put out there. To me, I said in a previous video, this smells like a mix of La Nuit L'Homme and EDP. Do both of those smell great? Absolutely. Does this smell good? Yeah, it smells great. The only problem is that for the scent profile you're gonna get a kind of warm, woody fragrance that 15 other companies have for probably about 30 bucks less, because YSL is not a fragrance that goes to discounters really, and when it does go to discounters, it's not really that discounted. There's a couple out there that you might be able to find a decent deal on, but this ain't going to be one of them, unfortunately. And the retail world for this is about 100. For this is 100 mil. The retail world for this is about 130, 140 bucks. For the cost, for what you get for the cost, this was definitely, in my book, this was overhyped. It's too mass appealing. It's too much of the same of what they kind of already had going on, unfortunately. With that being said, though, if you're someone who loves YSL and this is appealing enough, people are gonna love this. I really like this, but I don't regret buying it. Like, I'm not gonna go so far as to say I regret buying it. I haven't decanted it out. I haven't sold it, so obviously I like it enough to keep it in my collection. But just, to me, this was kind of overhyped. To me, this is one they probably should have just like released, and that was it. So that is going to be my overhyped fragrance of 2023. Unfortunately, it's going to be YSL Myself. Alrighty, now for the underhyped portion of this. So this is the fragrance that I feel like didn't get enough recognition, and I feel like part of the reason it didn't get some of the recognition when it came out was because of the brand, and that is going to be Polo Red Parfum. And I'm sure people's going to be looking at me a little side-eyed for saying this one. But Polo Red Parfum, what they did to this one, this is probably one of their more, of the Polo line as a whole, especially the Polo Red, this is one of their more like standoffish kind of fragrances. It doesn't smell like any other Polo Reds. I know Polo Red was in the past was notorious using raspberry and stuff like that to kind of get it sweet. This one that I'm aware of, it smells like it's in here, but according to the note breakdown, it's not. But the reason I say this one is underhyped is the value to scent profile that you get for this, because I don't think anybody really even said anything about this coming out. It just kind of showed up on a shelf one day, and hey, here we are. To me, this one has such a wonderful scent profile. It's warm, it's a little bit of sweet, it's got a little bit of like that berryness to it. And every single time I wear this, I get really good compliments. The performance is here. The performance is rock solid on this. That's the big one. Is every single time I catch myself wearing this, I always have somebody either ask me what I'm wearing or saying that they like it. And when this first came out, I even slept on this when it first came out. It took me wearing it about 4 or 5 times to kind of set back and be like, man, this thing, every time it started out good, and every time I wear it, it just gets a little bit better. So I even underhyped this one in my own collection. But yeah, something about the way this profile breaks down, something about the notes they used in this, something about the blend they went in this just works so well. It kind of went unnoticed. It just kind of went under everybody's radar. Real quick, I'm sure you hear my daughter yelling in the background. My apologies if my mic is picking that up. Anywho, back to the fragrance. But one of the main reasons I'm going to say about the hype on this one is going to be the value for which you can find this to the product that you get, because Polo uses some really good stuff. And Polo Red especially, now they've made a couple different, they've made 10 different variants of Polo Red in the past. Obviously it's not 10, but I don't know how many it is. To me, this is my favorite. This is one that it smells a little bit different than the rest of them. And on top of that, you get just one heck of a profile out of this. It's warm, it's sweet, it's got a little bit of invitingness to it. The main things I tend to pick up when I wear this is that blood orange on the top note. There's a little bit of lavender in here to get a little floral. And this also has a little bit of a musk to it. There's a little bit of sweetness there on the underlying side of it. So yeah, that's the reason I got to go with this one as my underhyped fragrance of the year, because you know, everything that you get, you can find this for 60-70 bucks on discounters for 100 mil, rock solid performance, kind of a different scent profile that they released that kind of went away from their norm. And to me, every time I wear this, I tend to get compliments. I tend to get people, for some reason, this gets people's attention. The more I've worn it, the more I've grown to like it. And so, yeah, for that reason, this one, Polo Red Parfum, this one is going to be my underhyped fragrance release of 2023. Alrighty, now, so for the just right, the hype matched the fragrance. I'm not going to do any, oh, damn it, what's that called? Where you thought about it, but it didn't quite make the honorable mention. There we go. I'm not going to do any honorable mentions or anything like that, so I'm just going to get straight to it. The just right, the hype matched the fragrance, and this one had a bunch of hype, is going to be Jean Paul Gaultier's Lamal Elixir. To me, this fragrance checked every single box of a new fragrance that you could possibly want. They did kind of jump on the Elixir train just a little, but you know what? That's okay, because this one, I feel like, has earned that. When you wear this fragrance, when you first spray it, you are hit with an immediate sweetness. You're hit with a beautiful sweet honey. Your dry down turns into like a beautiful sweet tobacco. This has benzoin in it. In my previous video, I think I called it benzian. That's a misspeak on my part. My bad. If you watch my channel long enough, you know that I don't English real good. But yeah, this has a lavender in it, so you get a little bit of floral note to it. But the main thing you're going to get when you wear this is you're going to get a very loud, robust, in-your-face fragrance that is loud, but somehow different from what they did with some of their other Lamals, and mass appealing. You get all three. It's different. There's not a whole lot that smell like this. A lot of people like this. I absolutely love this. To me, this is my 2023 release of the year. And part of the reason for that is there's really not a box that you can't check this in. If you want sweet, you got it. If you want deep, dark, rich, you got it. If you want that warm invitingness, if you want a date night, a clubbing, borderline signature scent out of a designer, you got it. And on top of that, it's a sweet, honey, tobacco-y, vanilla type of fragrance, which is exactly in my wheelhouse, because those are the ones I love the most. So for me, which all this is opinion based anyway, Lamal Elixir took the cake for me by easily. This was my favorite fragrance that was released in 2023, and for that reason, you know, and there was a lot of hype build up around this. There was at one point in time, everybody I knew and some of the fragrance groups and stuff like that, everybody was either looking for it, trying to get their hands on it, trying to figure out where it was coming from. And you know, it's been about 7 months since this has come out, and I can honestly say still every bit is worth the hype now as it was then. You know, like I said, this is still going to be a staple in my collection. I'm not coming off that horse yet. Until something dramatically changes, this will probably be a fragrance that I will keep in my collection for a very long period of time, pretty much as long as it's produced, I'll probably have a bottle of it. And if it ever does get discontinued, I'm gonna buy 2 or 3 of them. But something about the way that Jean Paul Gaultier blended this and everything about it just works. You got the gold is to me, the gold is a really nice touch. You got this collar here. I really like that. The presentation's good, and the price is a little bit on the steep end for a designer, but I'm okay with that because what you get for that price matches perfectly. You get an all-day fragrance. You get, if you want to refresh it, you get a 24-hour fragrance. You get a fragrance with a big profile that almost everybody's going to love. Just the richness of it, everything about this just screams top quality, top tier. And for that reason, this fragrance to me was not overhyped or underhyped one bit. This one slid in as just right. So yeah, that's why I'm going to go with that one. So just to kind of hit it with a quick recap. So these are the 3 we got. This one was overhyped, just a little too simple, a little too forward, smelled a little bit like too much what they'd already done. And on top of that, this one came for 100 mil, came in at like $140, which is steep. And not really on discounters yet. This one was a Polo Red that they kind of broke away from they normally do, but somehow still had a beautiful sweetness to it. Everything about this was good. The money for the value's there. And this one, for some reason, is just a big compliment getter. So that one to me came as underhyped. And then of course you have this beautiful scent here that it smells so good. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites in the collection. This one, out of all my fragrances, this one immediately, insert daughter, this one immediately jumped up to a top 10 fragrance for me. And that's why for a 2023 release, this one was just right. So that is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone who subscribed. Thank you everyone who stayed in, tuned in. Let me know how you like this kind of video. Like, for some reason, that hype thing just kind of seemed like it was going to work well. Is my mic on? Oh, thank God. But for some reason, I thought this video might work well. I kind of like the layout. I really don't do a lot of list videos. It's not really something I've tried to really get into. I've done a few. And if it's something that people want to see more of, let me know in the comments. I will gladly do a few. I just not really my thing, but I'll try it. But yeah, again, thank you everyone if you made it to this far in the video. Thank you everyone for watching, for staying tuned. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.